So despite being somebody that could never have just one watch in their collection, there are a lot of watches out there that, in theory, could really be up for the job. What is going on, everybody? Teddy Baldassarre here, and in this video, we're gonna be looking at watches that are going to cover a lot of areas for you as somebody that might own one of these watches. I'm gonna be cutting it off at $500, so this is gonna be more of an affordable price range for people that are interested. And please, do leave comments down below. I'm gonna be doing additional parts of this series as we go up different price points. So I would love to hear comments about other watches either in this price range or in future price ranges that we can address in the video. So for me, the criteria has to be a piece that can be dressed up, dressed down pretty easily, as well as have the ability to jump in the water with. So guys, let's jump into the video. So first up, we have a Seiko V, and I think a lot of people, when they think about Seiko Vs, they think about the SNK 800 series line. However, I have an everyday watch that I think fits the mold here even better than that. And we're gonna be looking at the SNZ G13. So this watch has a very similar aesthetic as that SNK 800 series line. Has a price point of a little bit higher though, between $120 to $150 depending on the version that you go for here in this line. You also have the case size of 41 millimeters, so also a little bit larger there, powered by a Seiko caliber 7S36 movement. But here's the really awesome thing about this watch. 100 meters of water resistant. So you're right on par with the Seiko Sea Urchin here. So a lot of versatility. Does a lot of the design elements in the same kind of vein as the Seiko V SNK 800 series, but I think it does it in what you probably could say a better value at a better package and at a larger size. This watch might not be as good when it comes to dressing up. That's why I decided to go with the black dial version. There are different dial options that you can go for, but I think if you go for that one, you also can get one on a bracelet. I think you can dress it up if you do need to. Next up, we have the Timex Allied 40 millimeters. So this watch coming in with a $125 price point is a little bit pricey for a Timex, but I have seen them for cheaper online. Case size 40 millimeters, powered by a quartz movement, and are water resistant up to 50 meters. There is an option here to go for a metal bracelet version. I don't know if you should go for that. I don't really have much hopes for a metal bracelet that'll be coming from this watch out of the box. If you did want to go that route, you could change it. But this is from Timex's archive line, which I am a big fan of. I love their designs, and I think this is a good mention for a watch because it really does play all the scenarios depending on the strap that you choose for the watch. Now next up, we have a brand that is part of the Seiko umbrella that I don't think gets a lot of love at all, and that is Alba. And the Alba watch that we're gonna be looking at is the Alba AQHA 004. So this watch is an automatically powered watch, and why I was really intrigued by it is it has a lot of the specs that we're looking for in an everyday piece. One, it has the ability to be dressed up rather easily. It has some elegance to it, but also can be dressed down depending on the strap that you go for. And the great thing about it is automatically powered by Seiko 7S26 movement. Really solid price point at $150. Case size at 41 millimeters, so pretty approachable case size, as well as a water resistance of 50 meters. Alba is one of those brands that I don't think gets a lot of love at all, and when we're talking about just affordable watches, so wanted to give them a mention here. A lot of their watches are quartz powered movements, but when I saw this one, even though it is harder to find for us in America, I did want to give it a nice shout out here today. Next up, another Seiko watch, and we're gonna be looking at the Seiko SNK N43. So this is another throwback reissue from Seiko here, and we're looking at a price point I found on Amazon for around $120. On Seiko USA site, you're looking at upwards of $300. So depending on where you go for this watch, you have a wide spectrum to go from. Case size is 44 millimeters, is powered by an automatic Seiko 7S26 movement, and is water resistant up to 50 meters. I thought this was a really interesting watch with its case style, so I wanted to give it a recommendation. I don't see this really getting any mention, but I think it has some versatility here with its black dial, really kind of matte finish. And I think it looks pretty clean, and I could imagine it being really useful in a lot of scenarios. Now we're gonna be looking at a Citizen watch, and we're gonna be looking at the Citizen Chandler AW143086A. So these watches are gonna really range between $100 and $200 depending on where you go for this watch. It has a 43 millimeter case and is powered by a quartz movement with water resistant up to 100 meters. So Citizen is just one of those brands that I think has a really wide variety of watches, and it's really hard to choose one, but I wanted to at least have them be represented in today's list, and here's my choice. Next up, we have an Orient watch that I have never heard anyone really give a mention to on the internet for a lot of watch YouTubers. So we're looking at the Orient ER2J003W. So when you're thinking about Orients, and especially this price range between $100 and $200, things you're thinking about are their divers, or you're thinking about the Orient Bambino. However, this is a watch that I think plays a really good in between for both of these watches. Has the elegance to be dressed up, but also the ability to be dressed down and go in the water with. So this watch comes in at $190. It is a case size of 43 millimeters, is powered by an in-house automatic Orient 48743 movement, and is water resistant up to 50 meters. This watch is not as accessible in the United States, but it's a really interesting watch. I like the look of it. I think it does cater to all of those different scenarios that I alluded to earlier, so I wanted to make sure it was on the list today. So next up, we have a brand that I have overlooked so many times. I have made tons of list videos, and every time I do it, I always seem to forget about this brand, and it's my fault. I recently did a video about underrated watch brands, and this brand here was on that list. So if you want to check out that video, I'll link to it down below, but of course I am talking about Serena. The watch, the Serena DS1 Powermatic 80. So for these watches, they're definitely retailing above $500, so they're outside of our price point. However, you can find them for cheaper than that. So I see a lot of these on the gray market or used between $300 to $400, $50. So definitely look there. So places like Jama Shop, Amazon, they are there. You can find them. Case sizes for these watches, 40 millimeters, movement, automatic Powermatic 80 movement, and then we're looking at a water resistance of 100 meters. These are great watches for really flexibility. I could see this being dressed up really easily as well as being dressed down. So that's what we're looking for here, and I definitely wanted to mention Serena because I know I would get a comment again. As always, I forgot them. So now we have a competitor for probably the best everyday watch that you could possibly have under $1,000, let alone under $500 that we have here today. And that is the Seiko Presage line. So I want to be looking at the SRPB 43. I wanted to choose this one because I think it is very versatile, plus it is on the cheaper side comparing it to a couple of the other models that also have a very neutral dial. But the price point here, $350 to $450 depending on where you find it. Case size of 40.5 millimeters, is powered by a Seiko caliber 4R35 movement, has a water resistance of 50 meters. And of course, these watches are going to be more dressy than they are going to be casual, but you can play both ways. In my case, what I'm always thinking about is it's always better to have a watch that when you're trying to go for that casual look, going dressy is never going to hurt you. You never can be really overdressed, but having a watch that is going to struggle to be dressed up, that's usually more of the issue. So I think this is a great option. I love the Seiko Presage line. They're constantly sold out on Seiko's website, but there are places to find them. And there's no really question for me why these are best sellers. And then finally, we have another very underrated brand, Friedrich Constant. And we're going to be looking at the Friedrich Constant 33S6B6. So these watches are going to be circulating on the gray market around $450 to $525. You can find them in a case size of 43 millimeters, powered by an automatic movement, and are water resistant up to 100 meters. So I love the look of Friedrich Constant's watches. We're going up to their slim line, their Moonface slim line. I just really enjoy their dress watches. A really underrated brand, and I definitely think they deserve a mention here today. Now for our next choice of watches, we have a brand that probably comes top of mind when you're thinking about everyday watches in this price range, and that's of course Hamilton. So when trying to choose the Hamilton to really put up here today, I think the Hamilton Khaki Field line is of course the one that comes to mind. I like the new Hamilton Khaki Field mechanical watches. These watches are going to come in between $400 and $500 for retail, but then you're going to find them for a little bit cheaper if you go ahead and look around. Case size of 38 millimeters. Love their vintage-like aesthetic. Then you have a movement automatic ETA 28012 movement, and are water resistant up to 50 meters. There are a lot of different options in the Khaki Field line, so be sure to check out which one's best for you. You really can't go wrong with any of them. And now finally, we have Tissot. And the Tissot watch we have is the Chemin de Tulle. Price point, $450 to $600. So yes, we are going a little bit outside of the scope of the price point here, but you can find them for under $500, so I wanted to include them on the list. Case size, 42 millimeters, powered by an automatic Powermatic 80 movement, and are water resistant up to 50 meters. Most of them are going to be appealing more to the dress side of things, so you're looking at your Visidates, the Swissmatic, you're looking at your Every Times. Those watches are definitely going to appeal more to that. They only have 30 meters water resistance, so I thought this would be the best option for today if we're talking about the overall experience as a watch owner, being able to jump in the water with it. That was one of my criteria for today, so I had to choose this one. So guys, what watch did I not mention that should have been mentioned, and what watches do you want to see in future price points? So I'm excited to make this a multiple part series. I'm always about just kind of just simplicity in when I'm talking about style. So I think finding watches, even though I would never have just one watch in my collection, just knowing what's out there is really interesting for me. So it was a lot of fun just kind of putting this list together. So I'd love to hear your guys' comments down below about ones that you would recommend for future videos and ones that I miss here so other people can see them. So guys, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Also hit the bell icon so you know when I release content. That bell icon really helps out the YouTube channel and for us in the YouTube's new algorithm. So if you can do that, really would appreciate it. On top of that, be sure to go follow me on Instagram so you can stay up to date with future watch giveaways. We're going to be announcing the winners of the 2 Vostok watches on my Instagram, as well as announcing the next watch for next month very soon. So I'm going to be actually just releasing the Vostok reviews very soon of those 2 watches. So keep your eyes open for that. And finally, if you want to support this new generation of watch lovers that we're trying to foster up here on this channel, be sure to go check out our Patreon. We have some awesome perks there, and it would really be a huge help if you can consider supporting this community that we are building here. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.